loves, welcome back to Holy Library. How are you doing today? Oh, thank you so much for the library check-in, Silver. I trying to set up a new scene today. I was struggling a little bit, but I wanted to kind of have like a cozy scene for reading streams now. Howdy, hi! Are you all excited for the Little Prince? As usual, I was rushing everything right before the stream because my ADHD brain, I guess, only gives me ideas when I'm on a deadline. Excited for Peak! Oh, I'm so glad. Have you ever read it before, or is this gonna be your all's first time? This is basically gonna be a reread for me because it's my favorite book that I'm obsessed with. Oh, and of course, I have the PDF on the pinned comment if y'all wanna download it to read along with me. Yes, I've read it before. It's like my fab. It's such an amazing book, right? I'm so excited to reread it because I feel like it's one of those books that every time you reread it. Wait, how am I pronouncing words? Reread it. You can like come away with a different message. Such amazing. Okay. Oh yeah, let me know if the music is okay. I was also trying to find something that sounded cozy, perfect for reading time. But yeah, this is gonna be the start of what I want to call book club. So there's gonna be more streams like this year. Basically, I'm gonna be picking a book to read together on stream. So I'm gonna have to start looking for more books that are short enough to read. And that I hopefully don't get in trouble for reading as well. Of course, I decided the first one will be The Little Prince because, like I said, it's my favorite book ever. Oh yeah, let me put on the notes. Oh, not the notes. My little sign, like last time. So these are gonna be the little rules for reading time. Like I mentioned before, the PDF is on the pinned comment in case you all want to read along. For those who have never read it before, I do really recommend to read it, to download it because the illustrations are also a very important aspect of the book to understand some of the messages. So that will be really useful. What else? Oh yeah. Of course, I also gonna turn off alerts and some redeems, so it won't be disturbing reading time. And you also, while I'm reading, you're all welcome to chat, leave a comment of what we're reading, but I won't be able to respond until I take a little break, probably between some chapters, because in this one the chapters are very short, so I'm gonna probably read like maybe like 5 chapters and then get a little break in between. It's a very short book as well, so I'm pretty sure, just like with A Christmas Carol, we'll be able to finish it in just a day. And also I did prepare a little presentation at the end, like last time, with book discussion questions and also talk about some adaptations and stuff. And also related books in case you all will be interested in that. Okay? I feel like a teacher. A teacher in English class, but no, I'm an angel. I'm an angel librarian who's trying to share my love for reading. And it makes me happy others also are interested in books like me. Alright. Oh, also, if you download the PDF, let me know if there's any issues, because I never I never used Google Drive in that way before, so I don't know if it works or not. Okay. Okay, we're gonna start in a bit. Let me just turn off the alerts before I forget. Okay. There. Alright, so let's start with the first chapter. It says, once when I was 6, I saw a magnificent picture in a book about the jungle called True Stories. It showed a boa constrictor swallowing a wild beast. Here is a copy of the picture. In the book it said, boa constrictors swallow their prey whole without chewing. Afterward, they are no longer able to move, and they sleep during the 6 months of their digestion. In those days, I thought a lot about jungle adventurers, and eventually managed to make my first drawing, using a colored pencil. My drawing number 1 looked like this. I showed the grown-ups my masterpiece, and I asked them if my drawing scared them. They answered, why be scared of a hat? My drawing was not a picture of a hat. It was a picture of a boa constrictor digesting an elephant. Then I drew the inside of the boa constrictor so the grown-ups could understand. They always need explanations. My drawing number 2 looked like this. The grown-ups advised me to put away my drawings of boa constrictors, outside or inside, and apply myself instead to geography, history, arithmetic, and grammar. That is why I abandoned, at the age of 6, a magnificent career as an artist. I had been discouraged by the failure of my drawing number 1 and of my drawing number 2. Grown-ups never understand anything by themselves, and it is exhausting for children to have to provide explanations over and over again. So then I had to choose another career, and I learned to pilot airplanes. I have flown almost everywhere in the world, and as a matter of fact, geography has been a big help to me. I could tell China from Arizona at first glance, which is very useful if you get lost during the night. So I have had, in the course of my life, lots of encounters with lots of serious people. I spent lots of time with grown-ups. I have seen them at close range, which hasn't much improved my opinion of them. Whenever I encounter a grown-up who seemed to me at all enlightened, I will experiment on him with my drawing number 1, which I have always kept. I wanted to see if he really understood anything, but he would always answer, that's a hat. Then I wouldn't talk about boa constrictors or jungles or stars. I would put myself on his level and talk about bridge and golf and politics and neckties. And my grown-up was glad to know such a reasonable person. Number 2. So, I lived all alone, without anyone I could really talk to, until I had to make a crash landing in the Sahara Desert 6 years ago. Something in my plane's engine had broken, and since I had neither a mechanic nor passengers in the plane with me, I was preparing to undertake the difficult repair job by myself, for it was a matter of life or death. I had only enough drinking water for 8 days. The first night, then, I went to sleep on the sand 1,000 miles from my inhabited country. I was more isolated than a man shipwrecked on a raft in the middle of the ocean. So you can imagine my surprise when I was awakened at daybreak by a funny little voice saying, "Please, draw me a sheep." What? Draw me a sheep. I leaped up as if I had been struck by lightning. I rubbed my eyes hard. I stared, and I saw an extraordinary little fellow staring back at me very seriously. Here is the best portrait I managed to make of him, later on. But of course, my drawing is much less attractive than my model. This is not my fault. My career as a painter was discouraged at the age of 6 by the grown-ups, and I had never learned to draw anything except boa constrictors outside and inside. So I stared wide at this apparition. Don't forget that I was 1,000 miles from any inhabited territory. Yet this little fellow seemed to be neither lost nor dying of exhaustion, hunger, or thirst, nor did he seem scared to death. There was nothing in his appearance that suggested a child lost in the middle of the desert 1,000 miles from any inhabited territory. When I finally managed to speak, I asked him, "But what are you doing here?" And then he repeated, very slowly and very seriously, "Please, draw me a sheep." In the face of an overpowering mystery, you don't dare disobey, absurd as it may seem. 1,000 miles from all inhabited regions and in danger of death, I took a scrap of paper and a pen out of my pocket, but then I remembered that I had mostly studied geography, history, arithmetic, and grammar, and I told the little fellow, rather crossly, that I didn't know how to draw. He replied, "That doesn't matter, draw me a sheep." Since I had never drawn a sheep, I made a one of the only two drawings I knew how to make, the one of the boa constrictor from outside, and I was astounded to hear the little fellow answer, "No, no, I don't want an elephant inside a boa constrictor. A boa constrictor is very dangerous, and an elephant will get in the way. Where I live, everything is very small. I need a sheep. Draw me a sheep." So then I made a drawing. He looked at it carefully and then said, "No, this one is already quite sick. Make another." I made another drawing. My friend gave me a kind, indulgent smile. "You can see for yourself. That's not a sheep. It's a ram. It has horns." So I made my third drawing, but it was rejected like the others. "This one's too old. I want a sheep that will live a long time." So then, impatiently, since I was in a hurry to start work on my engine, I scribbled this drawing and added, "This is just a crate. The sheep you want is inside." But I was amazed to see my young critic's face light up. "That's just the kind I wanted. Do you think this sheep will need a lot of grass? Why?" "Because where I live, everything is very small." "There's sure to be enough. I've given you a very small sheep." He bent over the drawing. "Not as small as all that. Look, he's going to sleep." And that's how I made the acquaintance of the Little Prince. 3. It took me a long time to understand where he came from. The little prince who asked me so many questions never seemed to hear the ones I asked him. It was things he said quite at random that, bit by bit, explained everything. For instance, when he first got sight of my airplane, "I won't draw my airplane, that will be much too complicated for me," he asked. "What's that thing over there?" "It's not a thing, it flies. It's an airplane, my airplane." And I was proud to tell him I could fly. Then he explained, "What? You fell out of the sky?" "Yes," I said modestly. "Oh, that's funny." And the little prince broke into a lovely peal of laughter, which annoyed me a good deal. I like my misfortunes to be taken seriously. Then he added, "So you fell out of the sky too? What planet are you from?" That was when I had the first clue to the mystery of his presence, and I questioned him sharply. "Do you come from another planet?" But he made no answer. He shook his head a little, still staring at my airplane. "Of course, that couldn't have brought you from very far." And he fell into a reverie that lasted a long while. Then, taking my sheep out of his pocket, he plunged into contemplation of his treasure. You can imagine how intrigued I was by this hint about other planets. I tried to learn more. "Where do you come from, little fellow? Where is this where I live of yours? Where will you be taking my sheep?" After a thoughtful silence, he answered, "The good thing about the crate you've given me is that he can use it for a house after dark." "Of course, and if you're good, I'll give you a rope to tie him up during the day, and a stake to tie him to." This proposition seemed to shock the little prince. "Tie him up? What a funny idea. But if you don't tie him up, he'll wander off somewhere and get lost." My friend burst out laughing again. Where could he go? "Anywhere, straight ahead." Then the little prince remarked quite seriously, "Even if he did, everything's so small where I live." And he added, perhaps a little sadly, "Straight ahead, you can't go very far." 4. That was how I had learned a second very important thing, which was that the planet he came from was hardly bigger than a house. That couldn't surprise me much. I knew very well that except for the huge planets like Earth, Jupiter, Mars, and Venus, which have been given names, there are hundreds of others that are sometimes so small that it's difficult to see them through a telescope. When an astronomer discovers one of them, he gives it a number instead of a name. For instance, he will call it Asteroid 325. I have serious reasons to believe that the planet the little prince came from is asteroid B612. This asteroid has been sighted only once by a telescope, in 1909, by a Turkish astronomer who had then made a formal demonstration of his discovery at an international astronomical congress. But no one had believed it on account of the way he was dressed. Grown-ups are like that. Fortunately for the reputation of asteroid B612, a Turkish dictator ordered his people, on pain of death, to wear European clothes. The astronomer repeated his demonstration in 1920 wearing a very elegant suit, and this time everyone believed him. If I've told you these details about asteroid B612, and if I've given you this number, it is on account of the grown-ups. Grown-ups like numbers. When you tell them about a new friend, they never ask questions about what really matters. They never ask, what does his voice sound like? What games does he like best? Does he collect butterflies? They ask, how old is he? How many brothers does he have? How much does he weigh? How much money does his father make? Only then do they think they know him. If you tell grown-ups, I saw a beautiful red brick house with geraniums at the windows and doves on the roof, they won't be able to imagine such a house. You have to tell them, I saw a house worth 100,000 francs, and then they exclaim, what a pretty house. So you tell them, the proof of the little prince's existence is that he was delightful, that he laughed, and that he wanted a sheep. When someone wants a sheep, that proves he exists. They shrug their shoulders and treat you like a child. But if you tell them, the planet he came from is asteroid B612, then they'll be convinced, and they won't bother you with their questions. That's the way they are. You must not hold against them. Children should be very understanding of grown-ups. But of course, those of us who understand life couldn't care less about numbers. I should have liked to begin this story like a fairy tale. I should have liked to say, once upon a time, there was a little prince who lived on a planet hardly any bigger than he was, and who needed a friend. For those who understand life, that would sound much truer. The fact is, I don't want my book to be taken lightly. Telling these memories is so painful to me. For me, it's already been 6 years since my friend went away, taking his ship with him. If I try to describe him here, it's so I won't forget him. It's sad to forget a friend. Not everyone has had a friend, and I might become like the grown-ups who are no longer interested in anything but numbers, which is still another reason why I have bought a box of paints and some pencils. It's hard to go back to drawing, at my age, when you had never made any attempt since the one of a boa from inside and the one of a boa from outside, at the age of 6. I'll certainly try to make my portraits as true to life as possible, but I'm not entirely sure of succeeding. One drawing works, and the next no longer bears any resemblance, and I'm a little off on his height too. In this one, the little prince is too tall, and he's too short, and here he is too short, and I'm uncertain about the color of his suit, so I grope in one direction and another, as best as I can. In the end, I'm sure to get certain more important details are wrong, but here you'll have to forgive me. My friend never explained anything. Perhaps he thought I was like himself, but I, unfortunately, cannot see a sheep through the sides of a crate. I may be a little like the grown-ups. I must have grown old. 5. Every day I learn something about the little prince's planet, about his departure, about his journey. It will come quite gradually, in the course of his remarks. This was how I learned, on the 3rd day, about the drama of the baobabs. This time too, I had the sheep to thank, for suddenly the little prince asked me a question, as if overcome by a grave doubt. Isn't it true that sheep eat bushes? Yes, that's right. Ah, I'm glad. I didn't understand why it was important that sheep should eat bushes, but the little prince added, and therefore they eat baobabs too? I pointed out to the little prince that baobabs are not bushes but trees, as tall as churches, and that even if he took a whole herd of elephants back to his planet, that herd couldn't finish off a single baobab. The idea of the herd of elephants made the little prince laugh. We'd have to pile them on top of one another, but he observed perceptibly. Before they grow big, baobabs start out by being little. True enough, but what do you want your sheep to eat a little baobabs? He answered, oh, come on, you know, as if we were talking about something quite obvious, and I was forced to make a great mental effort to understand this problem all by myself. And, in fact, on the little prince's planet there were, as on all planets, good plants and bad plants. The good plants come from good seeds, and the bad plants from bad seeds. But the seeds are invisible. They sleep in the secrecy of the ground until one of them decides to wake up. Then it stretches and begins to sprout, quite timidly at first. A charming, harmless little twig, reaching toward the sun. If it's a radish seed, or a rosebush seed, you can let it sprout all it likes. But if it's the seed of a bad plant, you must pull the plant up right away, as soon as you can recognize it. As it happens, there were terrible seeds on the little prince's planet, baobab seeds. The princess soil was infested with them. Now, if you attend to a baobab too late, you can never get rid of it again. It overgrows the whole planet. Its roots pierce right through. And if the planet is too small, and if there are too many baobabs, they may burst into pieces. It's a question of discipline, the little prince told me later on. When you finish washing and dressing each morning, you must tend to your planet. You must be sure you pull up the baobabs regularly, as soon as you can tell them apart from the rose bushes, which they closely resemble when they're very young. It's very tedious work, but very easy. And one day he advised me to do my best to make a beautiful drawing for the edification of the children where I live. If they travel someday, he told me, it could be useful to them. Sometimes there's no harm in postponing your work until later, but with baobabs, it's always a catastrophe. I knew one planet that was inhabited by a lazy man. He had neglected tree bushes. So, following the little prince's instructions, I have drawn the planet. I don't much like assuming the tone of a moralist. But the danger of baobabs is so little recognized, and the risks run by anyone who might get lost on an asteroid are so considerable, that for once I am making an exception to my habitual reserve. I say, children, watch out for baobabs. It's to warn my friends of a danger of which they, like myself, have long been unaware that I worked so hard on this drawing. The lesson I'm teaching is worth the trouble. You may be asking, why are there no other drawings in this book as big as a drawing of the baobabs? There's a simple answer. I tried, but I couldn't manage it. When I drew the baobabs, I was inspired by a sense of urgency. Okay. That's 5 chapters. Oh, Nathan, thank you so much for checking in. Okay. Honestly, it's been so long since I read this that I didn't remember some of the beginning. But I still love everything about this book so much. Especially the illustrations. I'm just staring at these illustrations right now. Okay, I'll continue in a bit. Let me just drink some coffee first. There. Coffee, perfect for reading. Okay. Okay, let's continue. Oh, little prince, gradually this was how I came to understand your sad little life. For a long time, your only entertainment was the pleasure of sunsets. I learned this new detail on the morning of the 4th day when you told me. I really like sunsets. Let's go look at one now. But we have to wait. What for? For the sun to set. At first you seemed quite surprised, and then you laughed at yourself. And you said to me, I think I'm still at home. Indeed, when it's noon in the United States, the sun, as everyone knows, is setting over France. If you could fly to France in 1 minute, you could watch the sunset. Unfortunately, France is much too far. But on your tiny planet, all you had to do was move your chair a few feet, and you will watch the twilight whenever you wanted to. One day I saw the sun set 44 times, and a little later you added, you know, when you're feeling very sad, sunsets are wonderful. On the day of the 44 times, were you feeling very sad? But the little prince didn't answer. 7. On the 5th day, thanks again to the sheep, another secret of the little prince's life was revealed to me. Abruptly, with no preamble, he asked me, as if it were the fruit of a problem long pondered in silence. If a sheep eats bushes, does it eat flowers too? A sheep eats whatever it finds, even flowers that have thorns? Yes, even flowers that have thorns. Then what good are thorns? I didn't know. At that moment, I was very busy trying to unscrew a bolt that was jammed in my engine. I was quite worried, for my plane crash was beginning to seem extremely serious, and the lack of drinking water made me fear the worst. What good are thorns? Little Prince never let go of a question once he had asked it. I was annoyed by my jammed bolt, and I answered it without thinking. Thorns are no good for anything. They are just the flower's way of being mean. Oh! But after a silence, he lashed out at me with a sort of bitterness. I don't believe you. Flowers are weak. They're naive. They reassure themselves whatever way they can. They believe the thorns make them frightening. I made no answer. At that moment, I was thinking, if this ball stays jammed, I'll knock it off with a hammer. Again, the little prince stirred my reflections. Then you think flowers? No, not at all. I don't think anything. I just said whatever came into my head. I'm busy here with something serious. He stares at me, astounded. Something serious? He saw me holding my hammer, my fingers black with grease, bending over an object he regarded as very ugly. You talk like the grown-ups. That made me a little ashamed, but he added, mercilessly, you confused everything. You got it all mixed up. He was really annoyed. He was very annoyed. He tossed his golden curls in the wind. Another planet inhabited by a red-faced gentleman. He's never smelled a flower. He's never looked at a star. He's never loved anyone. He's never done anything except add up numbers. And all day long, he says over and over, just like you, I'm a serious man. I'm a serious man. And that puffs him up with pride. But he's not a man at all. He's a mushroom. He's a what? A mushroom. Little Prince was now quite pale with rage. For millions of years, flowers have been producing thorns. For millions of years, sheep have been eating them all the same. And it's not serious trying to understand why flowers go to such trouble to produce thorns that are good for nothing. It's not important the war between the sheep and the flowers. It's no more serious and more important than the numbers that fat red gentleman is adding up. Suppose I happen to know a unique flower, one that exists nowhere in the world except on my planet, one that a little sheep can wipe out in a single bite one morning, just like that, without even realizing what he's doing. That isn't important? His face turned red now, and he went on. If someone loves a flower, of which just one example exists among all the millions and millions of stars, that's enough to make him happy when he looks at the stars. He tells himself, my flower's up there somewhere. But if the sheep eats the flower, then for him it's as if, suddenly, all the stars went out. And that isn't important? He couldn't say another word. All of a sudden, he burst out sobbing. Night had fallen. I dropped my tools. What did I care about my hammer, about my bolt, about thirst and death? There was, on one star, on one planet, on mine, the earth, a little prince to be consoled. I took him in my arms. I rocked him. I told him, the flower you love is not in danger. I'll dry you mussel for your sheep. I'll dry you fence for your flower. I didn't know what to say. How clumsy I felt. I didn't know how to reach him, where to find him. It's so mysterious, the land of tears. I soon learned to know the flower better. On the little princess planet, there had always been very simple flowers, decorated with a single row of petals, so they took up no room at all and got in no one's way. They will appear one morning in the grass and will fade by nightfall. But this one had grown from a seed brought from who knows where, and the little prince had kept a close watch over its sprout that was not like any of the others. It might have been a new kind of baobab, but with the sprouts that stopped growing and began to show signs of blossoming, the little prince, who had watched the development of an enormous bud, realized that some sort of miraculous apparition would emerge from it. But the flower continued her beauty preparations in the shelter of her green chamber, selecting her colors with the greatest care and dressing quite deliberately, adjusting her petals one by one. She had no desire to emerge all rumpled, like the poppies. She wished to appear only in the full radiance of her beauty. Oh yes, she was quite vain, and her mysterious adornment had lasted days and days, and then one morning, precisely at sunrise, she showed herself. And after having labored so painstakingly, she yawned and said, "Ah, I'm hardly awake. Forgive me. I'm still all untidy." Oh, I just saw the ad. Okay, let's wait for the ad to be over so everyone can read along. Gotta make sure to check the ads well. Okay. Also, I'm sorry if I make a little mistakes. I'm reading without my glasses. And obviously that it's a little bit hard. Hopefully that's okay. Also, of course, Since English is not my first language, I still struggle with some words. So I hope it's understandable at least. Okay. Gonna drink more coffee. I'm so glad we reached the part of the flower, because that's one of my favorite parts. Okay, the outbreak is over. Let's continue. Okay. But the little prince couldn't contain his admiration. How lovely you are! Aren't I? The flower answered sweetly, and I was born the same time as the sun. The little prince realized that she wasn't any too modest, but she was so dazzling. I believe it is breakfast time, she had soon added. Would you be so kind as to tend to me? And the little prince, utterly abashed, having gone to look for a watering can, served the flower. She had soon begun tormenting him with her rather touchy vanity. One day, for instance, alluding to her 4 thorns, she remarked to the little prince, I'm ready for tigers with all their claws. There are no tigers on my planet, the little prince had objected. And besides, tigers don't eat weeds. I'm not a weed, the flower sweetly replied. Forgive me. I am not at all afraid of tigers, but I have horror of drafts. I have a horror of drafts. You wouldn't happen to have a screen? A horror of drafts. That's not a good sign for a plant, the little prince had observed. How complicated this flower is. After dark, you will put me under a glass. How cold it is where you live. Quite uncomfortable, where I come from. But she suddenly broke off. She had come here as a seed. She couldn't have known anything of other worlds. Humiliated at having let herself be caught on the verge of so naive a lie, she coughed 2 or 3 times in order to put the little prince in the wrong. That screen? I was going to look for one, but you were speaking to me. Then she made herself cough again, in order to inflict a twinge of remorse on him all the same. So the little prince, despite all the goodwill of his love, had soon come to mistrust her. He had taken seriously certain inconsequential remarks and had grown very unhappy. I shouldn't have listened to her, he confided to me one day. You must never listen to flowers. You must look at them and smell them. Mine perfumed my planet, but I didn't know how to enjoy that. That business about the tiger claws, instead of annoying me, ought to have annoyed me. And he confided further. In those days, I didn't understand anything. I should have judged her according to her actions, not her words. She perfumed my planet and lit up my life. I should have never run away. I ought to have realized the tenderness underlying her silly pretensions. Flowers are so contradictory, but I was too young to know how to love her. In order to make his escape, I believe he took advantage of a migration of wild birds. On the morning of his departure, he put his planet in order. He carefully racked out his active volcanoes. The little prince possessed 2 active volcanoes, which were very convenient for warming his breakfast. He also possessed 1 extinct volcano, but, as he said, you never know. So he racked out the extinct volcano too. If they're properly racked out, volcanoes burn gently and regularly, without eruptions. Volcanic eruptions are like fires in a chimney. Of course, on our Earth we are much too small to rake out our volcanoes. That is why they cause us so much trouble. The little prince also uprooted, a little sadly, the last baobab shoots. He believed he will never be coming back, but all these familiar tasks seemed very sweet to him on his last morning. And when he watered the flower one last time, and put her under glass, he felt like crying. Goodbye, he said to the flower, but she did not answer him. Goodbye, he repeated. The flower coughed, but not because she had a cold. I've been silly, she told him at last. I ask your forgiveness. Try to be happy. He was surprised that there were no reproaches. He stood there, quite bewildered, holding the glass bill in midair. He failed to understand this calm sweetness. Of course I love you, the flower told him. It was my fault you never knew. It doesn't matter. But you were just as silly as I was. Try to be happy. Put that glass thing down. I don't want it anymore. But the wind... My cold isn't that bad. The night air will do me good. I'm a flower. But the animals... I need to put up with 2 or 3 caterpillars if I want to get to know the butterflies. Apparently, they're very beautiful. Otherwise, who will visit me? You'll be far away. As for the big animals, I'm not afraid of them. I have my own claws. And she naively showed her 4 thorns. Then she added, don't hang around like this. It's irritating. You made up your mind to leave. Now go. For she didn't want him to see her crying. She was such a proud flower. He happened to be in the vicinity of asteroids 325, 326, 327, 328, 329, and 330. So he began by visiting them to keep himself busy and to learn something. The first one was inhabited by a king, wearing purple and ermine. He was sitting on a simple yet majestic throne. Ah, here's the subject, the king explained when he caught sight of the little prince. And the little prince wondered, how can he know who I am if he's never seen me before? He realized that for kings, the world is extremely simplified. All men are subjects. Approach the throne so I can get a better look at you, said the king, very proud of being a king for someone at last. The little prince looked around for a place to sit down, but the planet was covered by the magnificent ermine cloak. So he remained standing, and since he was tired, he yawned. It is a violation of etiquette to yawn in a king's presence, the monarch told him. I forbid you to do so. I can't help it, answered the little prince, quite embarrassed. I made a long journey, and I haven't had any sleep. Then I command you to yawn, said the king. I haven't seen anyone yawn for years. For me, yawns are a curiosity. Come on, yawn again. It is an order. That intimidates me. I can't do it now, said the little prince, blushing deeply. Well, well, the king replied. Then I command you to yawn sometimes and sometimes too. He was sputtering a little and seemed annoyed. For the king insisted that his authority be universally respected. He would tolerate no disobedience, being an absolute monarch. But since he was a kindly man, all his commands were reasonable. If I were to command, he would often said, if I were to command a general to turn into seagull, and if that general did not obey, that will not be the general's fault, it will be mine. May I sit down? The little prince timidly inquired. I command you to sit down, the king replied, majestically gathering up a fold of his ermine robe. But the little prince was wondering. The planet was tiny. Over what could the king really reign? Sire, he ventured, excuse me for asking. I command you to ask, the king hastened to say. Sire, over what do you reign? Over everything, the king answered with great simplicity. Over everything? With a discreet gesture, the king pointed to his planet, to the other planets, and to the stars. Over all that? Asked the little prince. Over all that, the king answered. For not only was he an absolute monarch, but a universal monarch as well. And do the stars obey you? Of course, the king replied. They obey immediately. I tolerate no insubordination. Such power amazed the little prince. If he had wielded it himself, he could have watched not 44, but 72, or even 100, even 200 sunsets on the same day without ever having to move his chair. And as he was feeling rather sad on account of remembering his own little planet, which he had forsaken, he ventured to ask a favor of the king. I'd like to see a sunset. Do me a favor, your majesty. Command the sun to set. If I commanded a general to fly from one flower to the next like a butterfly, or to write a tragedy, or to turn into a seagull, and if the general did not carry out my command, which of us will be in the wrong, the general or me? You will be, said the little prince quite firmly. Exactly. One must command from each what each can perform. The king went on. Authority is based first of all upon reason. If you command your subjects to jump in the ocean, there will be a revolution. I am entitled to command obedience because my orders are reasonable. Then my sunset? Insisted the little prince, who never let go of a question once he had asked it. You shall have your sunset. I shall command it, but I shall wait, according to my science of government, until conditions are favorable. And when will that be? Inquired the little prince. Well, well, replied the king, first consulting a large calendar. Well, that will be that will be tonight around 7:40, and you'll see how well I am obeyed. The little prince yawned. He was regretting his lost sunset, and besides, he was already growing a little bored. I have nothing further to do here, he told the king. I'm going to be on my way. Do not leave, answered the king, who was so proud of having a subject. Do not leave. I shall make you my minister. A minister of what? Oh, of justice. But there's no one here to judge. You never know, the king told him. I have not yet explored the whole of my realm. I am very old. I have no room for a carriage, and it worries me to walk. Oh, but I've already seen for myself, said the little prince, leaning forward to glance one more at the other side of the planet. There's no one over there either. Then you shall pass judgment on yourself, the king answered. That is the hardest thing of all. It is much harder to judge yourself than to judge others. If you succeed in judging yourself, it's because you are truly a wise man. But I can't judge myself anywhere, said the little prince. I don't need to live here. Well, well, the king said. I have good reason to believe that there is an old rat living somewhere on my planet. I hear him at night. You could judge that old rat. From time to time you will condemn him to death. That way his life will depend on your justice. But you'll pardon him each time for economy's sake. There's only one rat. I don't like condemning anyone to death, the little prince said. And now I think I'll be on my way. No, said the king. The little prince, having completed his preparations, had no desire to agree with the old monarch. If your majesty desires to be promptly obeyed, he should give me a reasonable command. He might command me, for instance, to leave before this minute is up. It seems not to me that conditions are favorable. The king having made no answer, the little prince hesitated at first, and then, with a sigh, took his leave. I make you my ambassador, the king hastily shouted after him. He had a great air of authority. Grown-ups are so strange, the little prince said to himself as he went on his way. Okay. Well, already chapter, I think 11? I am so bad at Roman numbers. But I'm pretty sure X and Y is supposed to be 11, right? Okay. Like I said, this book is super short, so we're basically already halfway through, I think. So this might be a very short stream, actually. How are y'all liking the book so far? Is this your first time reading it? Oh my god, I really need glasses. I'm struggling so much. This is what happens when you get old, like me. Your vision starts failing. Thank you so much for the hydrogen. Okay, let me... Ah, wait, no, I don't have a bookmark. Oops, I forgot to bring a bookmark. Hold on. I'm just gonna use this, I'm just gonna use this random Yaoi charm keychain I have on my shelf as a bookmark right now. Okay, gonna drink some water now. There. Oh, also the stretch before I forget. There. Thank you. Alright. Hopefully I don't mess up too many words on the rest of the book. Okay. I keep thinking of the movie when I'm reading this, because I streamed the movie. I don't remember if it was on November, maybe? Yeah, we watched the movie on the server last year, and also really loved the movie adaptation. So I kept thinking of some of the scenes in the movie that appear that are from the book. Because well, the movie, I'm gonna check up more about the movie later on my slides, but the movie's not a complete adaptation of the book. So there's obviously a lot of stuff it's missing. They just kept like the important scenes. But I do remember the king and some of the other characters. So that's kind of what I was imagining while reading. Cause something that I struggle a lot with reading books is that I have aphantasia. I don't know if you all ever heard of it. It's like the inability to imagine stuff, like I guess in your mind. Like I see like very big shapes when I try to imagine stuff. So that's usually a hassle for me. Every time I read a book, I need illustrations. I need create images in your head. Yeah. Yeah, it's like I usually either see like pure black or I see like very vague like silhouettes in a way, but I don't see like a clear picture. Like there's some people who apparently because I thought it was normal. It was normal for everyone to be like me, but apparently some people can actually like see a whole picture in their head, but it can't. Oh, I heard of it, but not the name. Yeah, it's called Fantasia, and I found it. I'm pretty sure I found out about it some years ago. I remember, I think someone on YouTube made a video about it, an artist, and I was like, oh my god, this is exactly why I've always struggled both with art and with reading books, because I can picture stuff. I need reference. So whenever I'm reading something, I think it's a lot better for me to find there's official illustrations or fan art, so I can have like that image in my head what I'm reading, so I can like differentiate, because if I read something on its own, it's so hard for me to actually picture what's happening. It's so annoying. Especially also for art, it's so annoying. Because I wish I could just draw whatever sometimes, and I feel like I need to find a lot of references to have a better idea of what I want to draw. Like I can just draw on my own with nothing sometimes, because it's very hard. But yeah, I recommend y'all to look it up. Aphantasia. Do y'all, any of you also have aphantasia? Am I the only one here? But yeah, that's why I really like I really like the movie. I know when it came out, some people didn't enjoy it, because like I said, it's not a complete adaptation of the book, but I think they did a really good job. I don't know if I have it. Really? So you can actually like see stuff? Well, there's actually like a graph, I think, online where you can see there's different levels to it, I think. There's people who can like see the shape and the silhouette, and some people can see it more clearly or more like transparent kind of. Hello, I can picture full images in my head, seriously? Oh my god, Silver, I'm so jealous of you. I am so jealous. Why can't that be me? I seriously wish I could do that. That sounds so cool. Because my head is being like completely little shape and black. Wait, let me pull up the let me see if I can find a little graph so I can explain better. Where is it? Aphantasia graph. Okay, yeah. I think this one is the one that I was thinking of. No! Okay. CG. Okay, this one. This. Yeah, this one. This is the one. This is the one that I'm thinking of. See? See, there's like different levels to it. With me, I am in like 4 and 5. That's basically where I am. I literally can't see anything. I just like have like a very big shape or idea in my head, but I can't actually picture the stuff. In what level are you, Silver? Are you like 1 and 2? I wish I was. I wish I wasn't like 2 at least. 1. Wow, that's amazing. You are God's favorite. You are God's favorite, not like me. God hates me. I'm his least favorite angel. His least favorite. Why can't he love me? I wish there was a way to like change that, but I guess you're just born with it. I guess some people are just born lucky. That's honestly so cool. I can picture like an apple and turn around different angles in my head. Wow, that sounds like sci-fi to me. Fab angel MAO. Yes. I think you can just train yourself out of it. Really? I thought there wasn't. Well, I guess I haven't really looked into it. I just assumed I just born with it. But maybe I can try to learn how to do that. Cause like I really want to be at least like 3 or 2. I feel like 3 will be more useful at least. Even if I don't see color, like at least actually see something. No egg. No egg. Wait, were you trying to get my egg ready? Sorry, I turned it off. I can get distracted by getting bald while I'm reading. I was looking for it. Bald is banned from reading streams, but of course on the next time I have a stream with this model, you'll see it again. It's just too distracting. Okay, I'll continue again in a bit. I need to just trying to wait if there's gonna be like an ad so it doesn't interrupt the reading. No. Sorry. That's a rule. That's a rule for reading a long stream. No egg. No making me bald. Lucy's in town. It's okay though. I'm pretty sure. I think on Friday I might be streaming. What's it called? Little Kitty Big City again. So you can make me bald then with my cat ears. I'm gonna have it cat ears. So you can make me be an egg with cat ears if you want. You can redeem it as much as you want. Oh my god, also, I'm so sad I didn't reach the end of Little Goody Two Shoes on the last stream. I was trying my best, but I was taking too long. Kept dying so much. The Doom Jury got me. hopefully next time I play it, that we actually get the ending of the first playthrough at least. I'm really scared about what's gonna happen. Okay. Wait, how do I check if there's gonna be an ad already? Let me see. Pre-roll. Oh, okay. Oh, well, I think we can make it. I think the next ad is gonna be like 5 minutes. So I think we can read a few chapters more. Okay, let's continue then. We are in chapter 11, X1. X1. I. That's 11, right? Okay. Let's see. The second planet was inhabited by a very vain man. Ah, a visit from an admirer, he exclaimed when he caught sight of the little prince, still at some distance. To vain men, other people are admirers. Hello, said the little prince. That's a funny hat you're wearing. It's for answering acclamations, the very vain man replied. Unfortunately, no one ever comes this way. Is that so? Said the little prince, who did not understand what the vain man was talking about. Clap your hands, directed the man. Little prince clapped his hands, and the vain man tipped his hat in modest acknowledgement. This is more entertaining than the visit to the king, the little prince said to himself, and he continued clapping. The very vain man continued tipping his hat in acknowledgement. After 5 minutes of this exercise, the little prince tired of the game's monotony. And what will make the hat fall off? He asked. But the vain man did not hear him. Vain men never hear anything but praise. Do you really admire me a great deal? He asked the little prince. What does that mean? Admire? To admire means to acknowledge that I am the handsomest, the best dressed, the richest, and the most intelligent man on the planet. But you are the only man on your planet. Do me this favor, admire me all the same. I admire you, said the little prince, with a little shrug of his shoulders. But what is there about my admiration that interests you so much? And the little prince went on his way. Grown-ups are certainly very strange, he said to himself, as he continued on his journey. The next planet was inhabited by a drunkard. This visit was a very brief one, but it plunged the little prince into a deep depression. What are you doing here? He asked a drunkard, whom he found sunk in silence before a collection of empty bottles and a collection of full ones. Drinking, replied the drunkard, with a gloomy expression. What are you drinking? The little prince asked. To forget, replied the drunkard. To forget what? Inquired the little prince, who was already feeling sorry for him. To forget that I'm ashamed, confessed the drunkard, hanging his head. What are you ashamed of? Inquired the little prince, who wanted to help. Of drinking, concluded the drunkard, withdrawing into silence for good, and the little prince went on his way, puzzled. Grown-ups are certainly very, very strange, he said to himself, as he continued on his journey. The fourth planet belonged to a businessman. This person was so busy that he didn't even raise his head when the little prince arrived. Hello, said the little prince. Your cigarettes gone out. 3 and 2 make 5. 5 and 7, 12. 12 and 3, 15. Hello. 15 and 7, 22. 22 and 6, 28. No time to light it again. 26 and 5, 31. Phew. That amounts to 501,622,731. Oh wait, I just saw the ad. Hold on. Gonna wait for the ad to be over so no one misses out. Okay. Oh, 5 minutes already went by so fast, I guess. Okay, we are on chapter X111. That's wait, what number is that? X1. I guess that's chapter 13. Yeah, I think that's chapter 13. Okay. So in case anyone wants to catch up. We're on chapter 13. Or maybe I should say that after the ad, actually. Okay, let me wait. Okay, continue some coffee. Okay. Okay, like I said, since it's been so long since I read it, there definitely were some that I didn't remember because they don't appear in the movie. Okay, the ad is over, so we can continue. For those who want to catch up, we are right now on chapter 13. Is X and X, Y, Y, Y. Like Roman numbers, because I'm bad at Roman numbers. Okay. Sorry. Okay, let's continue. Okay, that amounts to 501,622,731. 500 million what? You're still here? 501 million. I don't remember. I have so much work to do. I'm a serious man. I can't be bothered with trifles. 2 and 5, 7. 501 million what? Repeated the little prince, who had never in his life let go of a question once he had asked it. The businessman raised his head. For the 54 years I've inhabited this planet, I've been interrupted only 3 times. The first time was 22 years ago, when I was interrupted by a beetle that had fallen onto my desk from God knows where. It made a terrible noise, and I made 4 mistakes in my calculations. The second time was 11 years ago, when I was interrupted by a fit of rheumatism. I don't get enough exercise. I haven't time to take strolls. I'm a serious person. The third time is right now. Where was I? 501 million. Million what? The businessman realized that he had no hope of being left in peace. Oh, of those little things you sometimes see in the sky. Flies? No, those little shiny things. Bees? No, those little golden things that make lazy people dream. No, I'm a serious person. I have no time for daydreaming. Ah, do you mean the stars? Yes, that's it, stars. And what do you do with 500 million stars? 501,622,731. I'm a serious person and I'm accurate. And what do you do with those stars? What do I do with them? Yes, nothing. I own them. You own the stars? Yes. But I've already seen a king who... Kings don't own, they reign over. It's quite different. And what good does owning the stars do you? It does me the good of being rich. And what good does it do to you to be rich? It lets me buy other stars, if somebody discovers them. The little prince said to himself, This man argues a little like my drunkard. Nevertheless, he asked more questions. How can someone own the stars? To whom do they belong? Retorted the businessman grumpily. I don't know, to nobody. Then they belong to me, because I thought of it first. And that's all it takes? Of course, when you find a diamond that belongs to nobody in particular, that is yours. When you find an island that belongs to nobody in particular, it's yours. When you're the first person to have an idea, you planted it and it's yours. Now I own the stars since no one before me ever thought of owning them. That's true enough, the little prince said. And what do you do with them? I manage them. I count them and then count them again, the businessman said. It's difficult work, but I'm a serious person. The little prince was still not satisfied. If I own a scarf, I can tie it around my neck and take it away. If I own a flower, I can pick it up and take it away. But you can't pick the stars. No, but I can put them in the bank. What does that mean? That means that I write the number of my stars on a slip of paper and then I lock that slip of paper in a jar. And that's all? That's enough. That's amusing, thought the little prince, and even poetic, but not very serious. The little prince had very different ideas about serious things from those of grown-ups. I own a flower myself, he continued, which I water every day. I own 3 volcanoes, which I rake out every week. I even rake out the extinct one. You never know. So it's of some use to my volcanoes. and it's useful to my flower that I own them, but you're not useful to the stars." The businessman opened his mouth but found nothing to say in reply, and the little prince went on his way. "Grown-ups are certainly quite extraordinary," was all he said to himself, as he continued on his journey. The fifth planet was very strange. It was the smallest of all. There was just enough room for a street lamp and a lamplighter. The little prince couldn't quite understand what use a street lamp and a lamplighter could be up there in the sky, on a planet without any people and not a single house. However, he said to himself, "It's quite possible that this man is absurd, but he's less absurd than the king, the very vain man, the businessman, and the drunkard. At least his work has some meaning. When he lights his lamp, it's as if he is bringing one more star to life, or one more flower. When he puts out his lamp, that sends the flower or the star to sleep, which is a fine occupation, and therefore truly useful." When the little prince reached this planet, he greeted the lamplighter respectfully. "Good morning. Why have you just put out your lamp?" "Orders," the lamplighter answered. "Good morning. What orders are those?" To put out my street lamp. Good evening." And he lit his lamp again. "But why have you just lit your lamp again?" "Orders." "I don't understand," said the little prince. "There's nothing to understand," said the lamplighter. "Orders are orders. Good morning." And he put out his lamp. Then he wiped his forehead with a red checked handkerchief. "It's a terrible job I have. It used to be reasonable enough. I put the lamp out mornings and lit it after dark. I had the rest of the day for my own affairs, and the rest of the night for sleeping." "And since then, orders have changed?" "Orders haven't changed," the lamplighter said. "That's just the trouble. Year by year, the planet is turning faster and faster, and orders haven't changed." "Which means?" "Which means that now that the planet revolves once a minute, I don't have an instant's rest. I light my lamp and turn it out once every minute." "That's funny. Your days here are 1 minute long." "It's not fun at all," the lamplighter said. "You and I have already been talking to each other for a month." "A month?" "Yes, 30 minutes, 30 days. Good evening," and he lit his lamp. The little prince watched him, growing fonder and fonder of this lamplighter who was so faithful to orders. He remembered certain sunsets that he himself used to follow in other days, merely by shifting his chair. He wanted to help his friend. "You know, I can show you a way to rest whenever you want to." "I always want to rest," the lamplighter said, "for it is possible to be faithful and lazy at the same time." Little Prince continued, "Your planet is so small that you can walk around it in 3 strides. All you have to do is walk more slowly, and you'll always be in the sun. When you want to take a rest, just walk, and the day will last as long as you want it to." "What good does that do to me?" the lamplighter said, "when the one thing in life I want to do is sleep?" "Then you're out of luck," said the little prince. "I am," said the lamplighter. "Good morning," and he put out his lamp. "Now that man," the little prince said to himself as he continued his journey, "that man will be despised by all the others, by the king, by the very vain man, by the drunkard, by the businessman. Yet he's the only one who doesn't strike me as ridiculous. Perhaps it's because he's thinking of something besides himself." He heaved a sigh of regret and said to himself again, "That man is the only one I may have made my friend, but his planet is really too small. There's no room for 2. What the little prince dared not admit was that he most regretted leaving that planet because it was blessed with 1,440 sunsets every 24 hours. The 6th planet was 10 times bigger than the last. It was inhabited by an old gentleman who wrote enormous books. "Ah, here comes an explorer," he exclaimed when he caught sight of the little prince, who was feeling a little winded and sat down at the desk. He had already traveled so much and so far. "Where do you come from?" the old gentleman asked him. "What's that big book?" asked the little prince. "What do you do with it?" "I'm a geographer," the old gentleman answered. "And what's a geographer?" "A scholar who knows where the seas are, and the rivers, and the cities, the mountains, and the deserts." "That is very interesting," the little prince said. "Here at last is someone who has a real profession." And he gazed around him at the geographer's planet. He had never seen a planet so majestic. "Your planet is very beautiful," he said. "Does it have any oceans?" "I couldn't say," said the geographer. "Oh," the little prince was disappointed. "And mountains?" "I couldn't say," said the geographer. "And cities and rivers and deserts?" I couldn't tell you that either, the geographer said. But you're a geographer. That's right, said the geographer. But I am not an explorer. There's not one explorer on my planet. A geographer doesn't go out to describe cities, rivers, mountains, seas, oceans, and deserts. A geographer is too important to go wandering about. He never leaves his study, but he receives explorers there. He questions them, and he writes down what they remember, and if the memories of one of the explorers seem interesting to him, then the geographer conducts an inquiry into the explorer's moral character. Why is that? Because an explorer who told lies will cause disasters in the geography books, as will an explorer who drank too much. Why is that? The little prince asked again. Because drunkards see double, and the geographer will write down 2 mountains where there was only one. I know someone, said the little prince, who will be a bad explorer. Possibly. Well, when the explorer's moral character seems to be a good one, an investigation is made into his discovery. By going to see it? No, that would be too complicated, but the explorer is required to furnish proofs. For instance, if he claims to have discovered a large mountain, he is required to bring back large stones from it. The geographer suddenly grew excited. But you come from far away. You're an explorer. You must describe your planet for me. And the geographer, having opened his logbook, sharpened his pencil. Explorers' reports are first recorded in pencil. Ink is used only after proofs have been furnished. Well, said the geographer expectantly. Oh, where I live, said the little prince. It's not very interesting. It's so small. I have 3 volcanoes, 2 active and 1 extinct. But you never know. You never know, said the geographer. I also have a flower. We don't record flowers, the geographer said. Why not? It's the prettiest thing. Because flowers are ephemeral. What does ephemeral mean? Geographies, said the geographer, are the finest books of all. They never go out of fashion. It is extremely rare for a mountain to change position. It is extremely rare for an ocean to be drained of its water. We write eternal things. But extinct volcanoes can come back to life, the little prince interrupted. What does ephemeral mean? Whether volcanoes are extinct or active comes down to the same things for us, said the explorer, the geographer. For us, what counts is the mountain. That doesn't change. But what does ephemeral mean? Repeated the little prince, who had never in all his life let go of questions once he had asked it. It means, which is threatened by imminent disappearance. Is my flower threatened by imminent disappearance? Of course. My flower is ephemeral, the little prince said to himself, as she has only 4 thorns with which to defend herself against the world, and I've left her all alone where I live. That was his first impulse of regret, but he plucked up his courage again. Where would you advise me to visit? He asked. The planet Earth, the geographer answered. It has a good reputation. And the little prince went on his way, thinking about his flower. Okay, now that's 5 chapters more. Oh, hi Manaji, welcome! Thank you so much for checking in. Ooh, angelic lighting, yes! I hope it looks good for reading time. Pretty. I'm glad you like it. Also, if you wanna keep up with us, Monoji, we gonna start I think it's chapter 16. Yeah. Looks great. Oh, I'm glad you think so. I was struggling setting everything up right before the stream. Ooh, okay. I really recommend downloading the PDF because the illustrations are very important for the book, at least in my opinion, because it really helps you see what's happening. And also, for those who don't know, the illustrations were drawn by the author. Noted. So also, I remember you watched, I think you also watched the movie with us, right, Monoji? In the server? But the book is definitely there's a lot of things that are different from the movie. Which I didn't remember at all, because it's been so long since I read it. Yeah. Yeah, like for example, the geographer, that one definitely wasn't in the movie. The drunkard, the geographer, the lamp guy, lamp lighter, those weren't in the movie at all. It's very interesting now that I reread those parts. Which makes me think about how, I mean, this book is mostly meant for children, but it does have so many metaphors that obviously I feel like you can appreciate more as adult, especially with those adult characters. Okay, just taking a little break before we continue the next chapters. At least I'm almost done with my coffee, at least. It did get cold, but I did manage to drink most of it when it was more warm. Success. Okay. Wow, we have very little left to finish the book. For some reason, I thought it might take me longer to finish it. But I think we might be able to in maybe an hour. Okay. Wait, let me check the ad. Okay, we don't have to worry about ads until 16 minutes, though. We can continue now. Like I said, we are now on chapter 16, is the X, the B, and the I in Roman numbers. Okay. The seventh planet, then, was the Earth. The Earth is not just another planet. It contains 111 kings, including, of course, the African kings, 7,000 geographers, 900,000 businessmen, 7.5 million drunkards, 311 million vain men. In other words, about 2 billion grown-ups. To give you a notion of the Earth's dimensions, I can tell you that before the invention of electricity, it was necessary to maintain over the whole of 6 continents a veritable army of 462,511 lamplighters. Seen from some distance, this made a splendid effect. The movements of this army were ordered like those of a ballet. First came the turn of the lamplighters of New Zealand and Australia. Then these, having lit their street lamps, will go home to sleep. Next, it will be the turn of the lamplighters of China and Siberia to perform their steps in the lamplighters' ballet. And then they too will vanish into the winds. Then came the turn of the lamplighters of Russia and India, then those of Africa and Europe, then those of South America, and of North America. And they never missed their cues for their appearances on stage. It was awe-inspiring. Only the lamplighter of the single street lamp at the North Pole and his colleague of the single street lamp on the South Pole led carefree, idle lives. They worked twice a year. Trying to be witty leads to lying, more or less. What I just told you about the lamplighters is incompletely true, and I risk giving a false idea of our planet to those who don't know it. Men occupy very little space on Earth. If the 2 billion inhabitants of the globe were to stand close together, as they might for some big public event, they will easily fit into a city block that was 20 miles long and 20 miles wide. You could crowd all humanity onto the smallest Pacific island. Grown-ups, of course, won't believe you. They're convinced they take up much more room. They consider themselves as important as the baobabs, so you should advise them to make their own calculations. They love numbers, and they'll enjoy it. But don't waste your time on this extra task. It's unnecessary, trust me. So once he reached Earth, the little prince was quite surprised not to see anyone. He was beginning to fear he had come to the wrong planet, when a moon-colored loop uncoiled on the sand. "Good evening," the little prince said. "Just in case." "Good evening," said the snake. "What planet have I landed on?" asked the little prince. "Oh, on the planet Earth, in Africa," the snakes replied. "Ah, and are there no people on Earth?" "It's the desert here. There are no people in the desert. Earth is very big," said the snake. The little prince sat down on a rock and looked up into the sky. "I wonder," they said, If the stars are lit up so that each of us can find his own someday. Look at my planet, it's just overheard, but so far away. It's lovely, the snake said. What have you come to Earth for? I'm having difficulties with a flower, the little prince said. Ah, said the snake, and they were both silent. Where are the people? The little prince finally resumed the conversation. It's a little lonely in the desert. It's also lonely with people, said the snake. The little prince looked at the snake for a long time. You're a funny creature, he said at last. Not bigger than a finger, but I'm more powerful than a king's finger, the snake said. The little prince smiled. You're not very powerful. You don't even have feet. You couldn't travel very far. I can take you further than a ship, the snake said. He curled around the little prince's ankle like a golden bracelet. Anyone I touch, I send back to the land from which he came, the snake went on. But you're innocent, and you come from a star. The little prince made no reply. I feel sorry for you, being so weak on this granite earth, said the snake. I can help you someday if you grow too homesick for your planet. I can... Oh, I understand just what you mean, said the little prince. But why do you always speak in riddles? I solved them all, said the snake, and they were both silent. The little prince crossed the desert and encountered only one flower, a flower with 3 petals, a flower of no consequence. Good morning, said the little prince. Good morning, said the flower. Where are the people? The little prince inquired politely. The flower had one day seen a caravan passing. People? There are 6 or 7 of them, I believe, in existence. I got sight of them years ago, but you never know where to find them. The wind blows them away. They have no roots, which hampers them a good deal. Goodbye, said the little prince. Goodbye, said the flower. The little prince climbed a high mountain. The only mountains he had ever known were the 3 volcanoes, which came up to his knee, and he used the extinct volcano as a footstool. From a mountain as high as this one, he said to himself, I'll get a view of the whole planet and all of the people on it. But he saw nothing but rocky peaks as sharp as needles. Hello, he said just in case. Hello, 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 the echo answered. Who are you? Asked the little prince. Who are you? Who are you? Who are you? The echo answered. Let's be friends. I'm lonely, he said. I'm lonely. I'm lonely. I'm lonely, the echo answered. What a peculiar planet, he thought. It's all dry and sharp and hard, and people here have no imagination. They repeat whatever you say to them. Where I live, I had a flower. She always spoke first. But it so happened that the little prince, having walked a long time through sand and rocks and snow, finally discovered a road, and all roads go to where there are people. Good morning, he said. It was a blossoming rose garden. Good morning, said the roses. The little prince gazed at them. All of them looked at his flower. Who are you? He asked, astounded. We're roses, the roses said. Ah, said the little prince. And he felt very unhappy. His flower had told him she was the only one of her kind in the whole universe, and here were 5,000 of them, all just alike, in just one garden. She will be very annoyed, he said to himself, if she saw this. She will cough terribly and pretend to be dying, to avoid being laughed at, and I have to pretend to be nursing her, otherwise she will let herself die in order to humiliate me. And then he said to himself, I thought I was rich because I had just one flower, and all I own is an ordinary rose. That and my 3 volcanoes, which come up to my knee, and one of which may be permanently extinct. It doesn't make me much of a prince. And he lay down in the grass and wept. Okay, I think that's 5 chapters already, right? Okay, yeah, we are on chapter 21 now. It's so sad when he realizes that about his flower. No, every part of the prince and his flower, I don't know, it really gets to me. I really love the illustrations. Okay, let me take just a little break again. I'm gonna take my coffee now. The last bit of coffee I have left. There. stretching without a redeem. It's hard to read in my usual shrimp position. Wait, how many chapters are here? I just realized I hadn't checked that first. Okay, X, B, 2, I. So I think there's 27 chapters in total. Okay. We're taking little breaks every 5 chapters, so definitely almost done. Okay. Time to continue. We're on chapter 21. It was then that the fox appeared. "Good morning," said the fox. "Good morning," the little prince answered politely, though when he turned around he saw nothing. "I'm here," the boss said, "under the apple tree." "Who are you?" the little prince asked. "You're very pretty." "I'm a fox," the fox said. "Come and play with me," the little prince proposed. "I'm feeling so sad." "I can't play with you," the fox said. "I'm not tamed." "Ah, excuse me," said the little prince, but upon reflection he added, "What does tame mean?" "You're not from around here," the fox said. "What are you looking for?" "I'm looking for people," said the little prince. "What does tame mean?" "People," said the fox, "have guns and they hunt. It's quite troublesome. And they also raise chickens. That's the only interesting thing about them. Are you looking for chickens?" "No," said the little prince. "I'm looking for friends." "What does tame mean?" "It's something that's been too often neglected. It means to create ties." "To create ties?" "That's right," the fox said. "For me, you're only a little boy, just like 100,000 other little boys. And I have no need of you. And you have no need of me either. For you, I'm only a fox like 100,000 other foxes. But if you tame me, we'll need each other. You'll be the only boy in the world for me, and I'll be the only fox in the world for you." "I'm beginning to understand," the little prince said. "There's a flower. I think she's tamed me." "Possibly," the fox said. "On Earth, one sees all kinds of things." "Oh, this isn't on Earth," the little prince said. The fox seemed quite intrigued. "One on another planet?" "Yes." "Are there hunters on the planet?" "No." "Now that's interesting. And chickens?" "No." "Nothing's perfect," sighed the fox. But he returned to his idea. "My life is monotonous. I hunt chickens. People hunt me. All chickens are just alike, and all men are just alike. So I'm rather bored. But if you tame me, my life will be filled with sunshine. I'll know the sound of footsteps that will be different from all the rest. Other footsteps send me back underground. Yours will call me out of my burrow like music. And then, look, you see the wheat fields over there? I don't need bread. For me, wheat is of no use whatever. Wheat fields say nothing to me, which is sad. But you have hair the color of gold, so it will be wonderful once you have tamed me. The wheat, which is golden, will remind me of you, and I'll love the sound of the wind in the wheat." The fox fell silent and stared at the little prince for a long while. "Please, tame me," he said. "I'd like to," the little prince replied, "but I haven't much time. I have friends to find and so many things to learn." "The only things you learn are the things you tame," said the fox. "People haven't time to learn anything. They buy things ready-made in stores. But since there are no stores where you can buy friends, people no longer have friends. If you want a friend, tame me." "What do I have to do?" asked the little prince. "You have to be very patient," the fox answered. "First, you'll sit down a little ways away from me." Oh, wait, I just saw the ad. Okay. We'll continue after the ad. The fox is also another part, my favorite parts of the book. Okay, gonna try to remember where I left off, cause still not, we haven't finished the chapter yet, so hopefully I don't get confused. I just see the little piggy just jumping. This is making me want to rewatch the movie again. There's actually a lot of Little Prince adaptations. I'm excited to talk about them after we finish the book. I was researching a lot. Okay. The outbreak is over. Okay. Time to continue. What do I have to do? Asked the little prince. You have to be very patient, the fox answered. First, you'll sit down a little ways away from me, over there, in the grass. I'll watch you out of the corner of my eye, and you won't say anything. Language is a source of misunderstandings. But day by day, you'll be able to sit a little closer. The next day, the little prince returned. It would have been better to return at the same time, the fox said. For instance, if you come at 4 in the afternoon, I'll begin to be happy by 3. The closer it gets to 4, the happier I'll feel. By 4, I'll be all excited and worried. I'll discover what it costs to be happy. But if you come at any old time, I'll never know when I should prepare my heart. There must be rights. What's a right? Asked the little prince. That's another thing that's been too often neglected, said the fox. It's the fact that one day is different from the other days, 1 hour from the other hours. My hunters, for example, have a right. They dance with all the village girls on Thursdays. So Thursday is a wonderful day. I can take a stroll all the way to the vineyards. If the hunters dance whenever they chose, the days will be all just alike, and I have no holiday at all. That was how the little prince tamed the fox, and when the time to leave was near. Ah, the fox said, I shall weep. It's your own fault, the little prince said. I never wanted to do you any harm, but you insisted that I tame you. Yes, of course, the fox said. But you're going to weep, said the little prince. Yes, of course, the fox said. Then you get nothing out of it? I get something, the fox said, because of the color of the weed. Then he added, Go look at the roses again. You'll understand that yours is the only rose in all the world. Then come back to say goodbye, and I'll make you the gift of a secret. The little prince went to look at the roses again. You're not at all like my rose. You're nothing at all yet, he told them. No one has tamed you, and you haven't tamed anyone. You're the way my fox was. He was just a fox like 100,000 others. But I made him my friend, and now he's the only fox in all the world. And the roses were humbled. You're lovely, but you're empty, he went on. One couldn't die for you. Of course, an ordinary passerby would think my rose looked just like you, but my rose, all on her own, is more important than all of you together, since she's the one I watered, since she's the one I put under glass, since she's the one I sheltered behind a screen, since she's the one for whom I killed the caterpillars, except the 2 or 3 for butterflies, since she's the one I listened to when she complained, or when she boasted, or even sometimes when she said nothing at all, since she's my rose. And then he went back to the fox. Goodbye, he said. Goodbye, said the fox. Here's my secret. It's quite simple. One says only with the heart. Anything essential is invisible to the eyes. Anything essential is invisible to the eyes, the little prince repeated, in order to remember. It's the time you spend on your rose that makes your rose so important. It's the time I spent on my rose, the little prince repeated, in order to remember. People have forgotten this truth, the fox said, but you mustn't forget it. You become responsible forever for what you have tamed. You're responsible for your rose. I'm responsible for my rose, the little prince repeated, in order to remember. Good morning, said the little prince. Good morning, said the railway switchman. What is it that you do here? Asked the little prince. I sort the travelers into bundles of 12, the switchman said. I dispatch the trains that carry them, sometimes to the right, sometimes to the left. And a brightly lit express train, roaring like thunder, shook the switchman's cabin. What a hurry they're in, said the little prince. What are they looking for? Not even the engineer on the locomotive knows, the switchman said. And another brightly lit express train thundered by on the opposite direction. Are they coming back already? Asked the little prince. It's not the same ones, the switchman said. It's an exchange. They weren't satisfied where they were? asked the little prince. No one's ever satisfied where he is, the switchman said. And a third brightly lit express train thundered past. Are they chasing the first travelers? Asked the little prince. They're not chasing anything, the switchman said. They're sleeping in there, or else they're yawning. Only the children are pressing their noses against the window panes. Only the children know what they're looking for, said the little prince. They spend their time on a rag doll, and it becomes very important. And if it's taken away from them, they cry. They're lucky, the switchman said. Good morning, said the little prince. Good morning, said the sales clerk. This was a sales clerk who sold pills invented to quench thirst. Swallow one a week and you no longer feel any need to drink. Why do you sell these pills? They save so much time, the sales clerk said. Experts have calculated that you can save 53 minutes a week. And what do you do with these 53 minutes? Whatever you like. If I have 53 minutes to spend as I liked, the little prince said to himself, I'll walk very slowly toward a water fountain. It was now the 8th day since my crash landing in the desert, and I listened to the story about the sales clerk, and I was drinking the last drop of my water supply. Ah, I said to the little prince, your memories are very pleasant, but I haven't yet repaired my plane. I have nothing left to drink, and I, too, will be glad to walk very slowly toward a water fountain. My friend the fox told me, little fellow, this has nothing to do with the fox. Why? Because we're going to die of thirst. The little prince didn't follow my reasoning and answered me. It's good to have had a friend, even if you're going to die. Myself, I'm very glad to have had a fox for a friend. He doesn't realize the danger, I said to myself. He's never hungry or thirsty. A little sunlight is enough for him. But the little prince looked at me and answered my thought. I'm thirsty too. Let's find a well. I made an exasperated gesture. It's absurd looking for a well, at random, in the vastness of the desert. But even so, we started walking. When we had walked for several hours in silence, night fell and stars began to appear. I noticed then, as in a dream, being somewhat feverish on account of my thirst. The little prince's words danced in my memory. So you're thirsty too? I asked. But he didn't answer my question. He merely said to me, water can also be good for the heart. I didn't understand his answer, but I said nothing. I knew by this time that it was no use questioning him. He was tired. He sat down. I sat down next to him. And after a silence, he spoke again. The stars are beautiful because of a flower you don't see. I answered, yes, of course, and without speaking another word, I stared at the reaches of the sand in the moonlight. The desert is beautiful, the little prince added, and it was true. I've always loved the desert. You sit down in a sand dune. You see nothing, you hear nothing, and yet something that shines, something sings in that silence. What makes the desert beautiful, the little prince said, is that it hides a well somewhere. I was surprised by suddenly understanding the mysterious radiance of the sands. When I was a little boy, I lived in an old house, and there was a legend that a treasure was buried in it somewhere. Of course, no one was ever able to find the treasure. Perhaps no one even searched, but it cast a spell over the whole house. My house hid a secret in the depths of its heart. Yes, I said to a little prince. Whether it's a house or the stars or the desert, what makes them beautiful is invisible. I'm glad, he said. You agree with my fox. As the little prince was falling asleep, I picked him up in my arms and started walking again. I was moved. It was like I was carrying a fragile treasure. It actually seemed to me there was nothing more fragile on earth. By the light of the moon, I gazed at that pale forehead, those closed eyes, those locks of hair trembling in the wind, and I said to myself, what I'm looking at is only a shell. What's more important is invisible. As his lips parted in a half smile, I said to myself again, what moves me so deeply about this sleeping little prince is his loyalty to a flower. The image of a rose shining within him like the flame within a lamp, even when he's asleep. And I realized he was even more fragile than I had thought. Lamps will be protected. A ghost of wind can blow them out. And walking on like that, I found the well at daybreak. Okay. Why is my vision getting blurry? I am definitely getting old. My vision is worsening. Okay. So we're right now on chapter, I think it's 25. Just 7 more chapters. So when we start the next one, it's gonna be until the end. Cassiel is becoming old man. Yeah, unfortunately. That's what happened when you live thousands of years old. That's what happens when you're older than the earth. I guess I age very slowly, so I'm barely dealing with the consequences of being old. I came into the middle of the stream. I have no clue what the book is about. Oh, well, you want me to explain? You never heard of The Little Prince before, or have you ever watched the movie? Yeah. Okay. So basically, The Little Prince is a story from the perspective of someone called the Aviator, that he's a pilot that was stranded at the desert, and that's where he meets the Little Prince. And we get to meet the Little Prince. From what we learn from him, is that he comes from a little planet, an asteroid, and is a Little Prince from that one game where you roll the earth into a ball? Wait. You roll the earth into a ball? I never heard of that game. What game is that? Maybe they made a reference to the book? Katamari Damacy? Okay, I need to Google that because I never heard of that before. Damacy. Oh, okay. I think I've seen this game. Okay, honestly, I don't know. It starts with a K. You mean... Okay, let me try to save it. Where is it? I'm pretty sure I've seen these characters before, but honestly, I never played it, so I don't know if maybe they have like references to it. You mean... Wait, where's the picture I just saved? Oh my god. Oh, this keeps happening. I guess this one. Why is it not letting me save it? Okay, maybe it's working now? Is the book Japanese or does it have a Japanese influence? No, the book? Oh my god, why is it not Okay, there it is. You mean this game? I never played it before, but I've known a little bit of some of it. I don't know if maybe there's some influence. The game is Japanese. Yeah, is this one right? Katamari? Well, the book itself, the book is French. It's by a French author. And it was written during World War II. So, yes, that's the one. Okay. Well, I'm not sure because I haven't, like I said, I haven't heard of this game, but it wouldn't surprise me if it had influences about the Little Prince, because there's a lot of classical books, European classical books, that became very known in Japan. That's why there's a lot of animated, there's a lot of old anime that's based off those books. So it wouldn't surprise me if it had been inspired by it. I think the original Katamari was a PS2 title. Oh, I'm interested. I remember some back when I was younger, some friends told me about this game. I'd like to play it someday. Actually, now I'm a little bit curious. Let me see. Let me Google and maybe there's something. Mari. Mari, tell me, see, Little Prince. Oh. Well, actually, according to Google, it says, in beautiful Katamari and Katamari Forever, the Princess Planet, along with the Space Mushroom, are located next to the black hole. Blah blah blah. The prince and his planet may be a reference to the book The Little Prince. So apparently Google says it might seem to be a reference to The Little Prince, so maybe. It seems like it's true. Now I have more reasons to want to play this. But yeah, basically, the Little Prince lives in like a little asteroid, and he travels to different asteroids and meets the other characters from their different planets, and then he goes to Earth. It's basically about his journey. It's kind of hard to explain everything though. Oh, neat. But I honestly do recommend the movie, even though it's not like a very complete adaptation of the book. I think it's a very good introduction, and I would also recommend to read the book if you ever want to, because it does have like a lot of really good lessons and metaphors. But yeah, now I want to check out the game. When I made my slides about adaptations of the book, I focus more like on actual adaptations and not stuff that's based or inspired by The Little Prince, but now I want to look more into that. Seems interesting. Okay, now we're gonna continue to the last part. These are gonna be the last chapters of the book. I kinda don't like reading the ending, but okay, we have to get to it. Okay. Just reminder, we are on chapter 25. It's the X, X, and the B in Roman numbers. Alright. Oh wait, let me check before the ad. Okay, I think we can make it. 60. There's still minutes before. I think we can. We don't have to worry about that. Okay. Now, let's continue. The Little Prince said, "People start out in express trains, but they no longer know what they're looking for. Then they get all excited and rush around in circles." And he added, "It's not worth the trouble." That well we had come to was not at all like the wells of the Sahara. The wells of the Sahara are no more than holes dug in the sand. This one looked more like a village well, but there was no village here, and I thought I was dreaming. It's strange, I said to the Little Prince. "Everything is ready, the pulley, the bucket, and the rope." He laughed, grasped the rope, and set the pulley working. And the pulley groaned the way an old weather vane groans when the wind has been asleep a long time. "Hear that?" said the Little Prince. "We have awakened this well, and he's singing." I didn't want him to tire himself out. "Let me do that," I said to him. "It's too heavy for you." Slowly, I hoisted the bucket to the edge of the well. I set it down with great care. The song of the pulley continued in my ears, and I saw the sun glisten on the still trembling water. "I'm thirsty for that water," said the Little Prince. "Let me drink some." And I understood what he'd been looking for. I raised the bucket to his lips. He drank, eyes closed. It was as sweet as a feast. That water was more than merely a drink. It was born of our walk beneath the stars, and of the song of the pulley, of the effort of any arms. It did the heart good, like a present. When I was a little boy, the Christmas tree lights, the music of midnight mass, the tenderness of people's smiles made up, in the same way, the whole radiance of the Christmas present I received. "People where you lived," the Little Prince said, "grow 5,000 roses in one garden, yet they don't find what they're looking for." "They don't find it," I answered. "And yet what they're looking for could be found in a single rose or a little water. Of course, I answered. And Little Prince added, but eyes are blind. You have to look with the heart. I had drunk the water. I could breathe easy now. The sand at daybreak. It's honey color, and that color was making me happy too. Why then did I also feel so sad? You must keep your promise, said the little prince, sitting up again beside me. What promise? You know, I'm also for my sheep. I'm responsible for this flower. I took my drawings out of my pocket. The little prince glanced at them and laughed as he said, Your baobabs look more like cabbages. Oh, I had been so proud of the baobabs. Your fox, his ears, look more like horns, and they're too long, and he laughed again. You're being unfair, my little prince, I said. I never knew how to draw anything but boas from the inside and boas from the outside. Oh, that'll be all right, he said. Children understand. So then I drew a muzzle, and with a heavy heart I handed it to him. You have made plans I don't know about. But he didn't answer. He said, You know, my fall to earth, tomorrow will be the first anniversary. Then, after a silence, he continued, I landed very near here, and he blushed. And once again, without understanding why, I felt a strange grief. However, a question occurred to me. Then it wasn't by accident that on the morning I met you, 8 days ago, you were walking that way, all alone, 1,000 miles from any inhabited region? Were you returning to the place where you fell on earth? The little prince blushed again. And I added hesitantly, Perhaps on account of the anniversary? The little prince blushed once more. He never answered questions. But when someone blushes, doesn't that mean yes? Ah, I said to the little prince, I'm afraid. But he answered, You must get to work now. You must get back to your engine. I'll wait here. Come back tomorrow night. But I wasn't reassured. I remembered the fox. You risk tears if you let yourself be tamed. Besides the well, there was a ruin, an old stone wall. When I came back from my work the next evening, I caught sight of my little prince from a distance. He was sitting on top of the wall, legs dangling, and I heard him talking. Don't you remember? He was saying. This isn't exactly the place. Another voice must have answered him then, for he replied, Oh yes, it's the right day, but this isn't the place. I continued walking toward the wall. I still could neither see nor hear anyone. Yet the little prince answered again. Of course, you see where my tracks begin on the sand. Just wait for me there. I'll be there tonight. I was 20 yards from the wall and still saw no one. Then the little prince said after a silence, Your poison is good? You're sure it won't make me suffer long? I stopped short, my heart pounding, but I still didn't understand. Now go away, the little prince said. I want to get down from here. Then I looked down toward the foot of the wall and gave a great start. There, coiled in front of the little prince, was one of those yellow snakes that can kill you in 30 seconds. As I dug into my pocket for my revolver, I stepped back, but at the noise I made, the snake flowed over the sand like a trickling fountain, and without even hurrying, slipped away between the stones with a faint metallic sound. I reached the wall just in time to catch my little prince in my arms, his face white as snow. What's going on here? You're talking to snakes now? I had loosened the yellow scarf he always wore. I had moistened his temples and made him drink some water, and now I didn't dare ask him anything more. He gazed at me with a serious expression and put his arms around my neck. I felt his heart beating like a dying bird's when it's been shot. He said to me, I'm glad you found what was the matter with your engine. Now you'll be able to fly again. How do you know? I was just coming to tell him that I had been successful beyond all hope. He didn't answer my question. All that he said was, I'm leaving today too. And then sadly, it's much further. It's much more difficult. I realized that something extraordinary was happening. I was holding him in my arms like a little child, yet it seemed to me that he was dropping headlong into an abyss, and I could do nothing to hold him back. His expression was very serious now, lost and remote. I have your sheep, and I have the crave for it, and the muzzle, and he smiled sadly. I waited a long time. I could feel that he was reviving a little. Little fellow, you were frightened. Of course he was frightened. But he laughed a little. I'll be much more frightened tonight. Once again, I felt chilled by the sense of something irreparable, and I realized I couldn't bear the thought of never hearing that laugh again. For me, it was like a spring of fresh water in the desert. Little fellow, I want to hear you laugh again. But he said to me, Tonight, it'll be a year. My star will be just above the place where I fell last year. Little fellow, it's a bad dream, isn't it? All this conversation with the snake and the meeting place and the star. but he didn't answer my question. All he said was, the important thing is what can be seen. Of course. It's the same as for the flower. If you love a flower that lives on a star, then it's good. At night, to look up at the sky. All the stars are blossoming. Of course. It's the same for the water. The water you gave me to drink was like music. On account of the pulley and the rope. You remember. It was good. Of course. At night, you look up at the stars. It's too small where I live. For me to show you where my star is, it's better that way. My star will be one of the stars for you. So you like looking at all of them. I'll be your friends. And besides, I have a present for you. He laughed again. Ah, little fellow, I love hearing that laugh. That'll be my present, just that. It'll be the same as for the water. What do you mean? People have stars, but they aren't the same. For travelers, the stars are guides. For other people, they're nothing but tiny lights. And for still others, for scholars, they're problems. For my businessmen, they were gold. But all those stars are silent stars. You, though, you have stars like nobody else. What do you mean? When you look up at the stars at night, at the sky at night, since I'll be living on one of them, since I'll be laughing on one of them, for you, it'll be as if all the stars are laughing. You'll have stars that can laugh. And he laughed again. And when you're consoled, everyone eventually is consoled. You'll be glad you have known me. You'll always be my friend. You'll feel like laughing with me. And you open your window sometimes, just for the fun of it. And your friends will be amazed to see you laughing while you're looking up at the sky. Then you'll tell them, yes, it's the stars. They always make me laugh. And they'll think you're crazy. It'll be a nasty trick I played on you. And he laughed again. And it'll be as if I had given you, instead of stars, a lot of tiny veils that know how to laugh. And he laughed again, like he grew serious once more. Tonight, don't come. I won't leave you. It will look as if I'm suffering. It will look a little as if I'm dying, if you look that way. Don't come to see that. It's not worth the trouble. I won't leave you. But he was anxious. I'm telling you this, on account of the snake. He mustn't bite you. Snakes are nasty sometimes. They bite just for fun. I will leave you. But something reassured him. It's true that they don't have enough poison for a second bite. That night, I didn't see him leave. He got away without making a sound. When I managed to catch up with him, he was walking fast, with determination. All he said was, "Ah, you're here," and he took my hand, but he was still anxious. "You were wrong to come. You'll suffer. I'll look as if I'm dead, and that won't be true." I said nothing. "You understand, it's too far. I can't take this body with me. It's too heavy." I said nothing. "But it will be like an old abandoned shell. There's nothing sad about an old shell." I said nothing. He was a little disheartened now, but he made one more effort. "It'd be nice, It'd be looking at the stars. I'll be looking at the stars too. All the stars will be wells with a rusty pulley. All the stars will pour out water for me to drink." I said nothing. "And it will be fun. You'll have 500 million little bells. I'll have 500 million springs of fresh water." And he too said nothing, because he was weeping. "Here's the place. Let me go on alone." And he sat down because he was frightened. Then he said, "My flower, I'm responsible for her, and she's so weak and so naive. She has 4 ridiculous thorns to defend her against the world." I sat down too, because I was unable to stand any longer. He said, "There, that's all." He hesitated a little longer, then he stood up. He took a step. I couldn't move. There was nothing but a yellow flash to close his ankle. He remained motionless for an instant. He didn't cry out. He felt guilty. He fell gently, the way a tree falls. There wasn't even a sound, because of the sand. Sorry, I noticed the ad started right when we were about to reach the last chapter. Okay. Gonna wait a little. Why? Right when it's getting so sad. And of course, I'm out of coffee. Okay. continue in a bit. Just gonna wait for the ad to be over again. I thought we would be able to make it. I was so close. Alright. Just a little break also for my throat. Okay. Let me just drink some water. Okay. Now, we can continue to the last chapter. Okay. And now, of course, it's been 6 years already. I've never told this story before. The friends who saw me again were very glad to see me alive. I was sad, but I told them, it's fatigue. Now I'm somewhat consoled. That is, not entirely, but I know he did get back to his planet because at daybreak, I didn't find his body. It wasn't such a heavy body. And at night, I love listening to the stars. It's like 500 million little bells. But something extraordinary has happened. When I drew that muzzle for the little prince, I forgot to put in the leather strap. He could never have fastened it on his ship. And then I wonder, what's happened there on his planet? Maybe the ship has eaten the flower. Sometimes I tell myself, of course not. The little prince puts his flower under glass, and he keeps close watch over his ship. Then I'm happy, and all the stars laugh sweetly. Sometimes I tell myself, anyone might be distracted once in a while, and that's all it takes. One night he forgot to put her on the glass, or else the ship got out without making any noise during the night. Then the bells are all changed into tears. It's all a great mystery, for you, who love the little prince too. As for me, nothing in the universe can be the same in somewhere. No one knows where a sheep we never saw has or has not eaten a rose. Look up at the sky. Ask yourself, has the sheep eaten the flower or not? And you'll see how everything changes. And no grown-up will ever understand how such a thing could be so important. For me, this is the loveliest and the saddest landscape in the world. It's the same landscape as the one on the preceding page, but I've drawn it one more time in order to be sure you see it clearly. It's here that the little prince appeared on Earth, then disappeared. Look at this landscape carefully to be sure of recognizing it. If you should travel to Africa someday, in the desert, and if you happen to pass by here, I beg you not to hurry past. Wait a little, just under the star. Then if a child comes to you, if he laughs, he has golden hair, if he doesn't answer your questions, you'll know who he is. If this should happen, be kind. Don't let me go on being so sad. Send word immediately that he's come back. The end. That's the story of the little prince. The ending always makes me so sad. So, what do you think? Do you like it? I feel like it can be, some people can get a bit lost because of the metaphors. Happens to me too sometimes. That was something. Yeah, there's a lot of metaphors basically, so it kind of, you do have to like I guess try to decipher what they mean. I definitely did have to like research a lot sometimes to understand some of it, but I really loved this book so much. Okay. And we managed to finish it in a couple hours, so perfect. This is a very, very small book, like I said. Okay, so so let's go. So from what I understand, the little prince went back to this planet and the pilot missed having him around. Yes, exactly. Well, it's kind of ambiguous in the ending in that sense, because basically the snake beat him to death. So it's kind of ambiguous in the sense that you have to believe if that prince actually died or he actually went back to his planet, like he says. But I like to think that he did make it back to his planet. And the pilot basically spent the rest of his life thinking about him because he misses him. But he knows that when he looks at the stars, he's there. Also, something that I really like is that the actor himself, he was a pilot, so this was pretty much. I'm pretty sure it was pretty inspired by his experiences. Never trust a snake. True. It reminds me of the snake from Little Goody Two Shoes. Snakes are sneaky. Okay, so we're gonna continue now to the slides that I prepared, so we can have a little bit of book discussion. So talk about other things relating to the book. Okay. Okay. There. Let me try to find where did I put the slides. Okay. Okay, so this is my little presentation. The Little Prince. Here's some discussion questions. Okay, what do you think about the characters in the story? Who was your favorite, and what do you think they symbolize? Personally, my favorite has always been the Little Prince, but I also really love the Rose and the Fox. What about you all? Which one do you like the most from the characters? Because there's a lot of characters, especially in the book comparison to the movie adaptation. You see a lot more characters. Although I don't think the adults are very likable, except for the pilot. But yes, who's your favorite? Tell me. Oh, I want coffee now. Okay, I can never. I was gonna say I can never see now. I like the prince. He was a silly little lad. Yay! I love him so much. It's nice to see the way he thinks about stuff. He has a very peculiar way of thinking. I'm pretty sure, at least for the prince, he basically represents like childhood and childlike wonder. So it's very nice to see the way he expresses that, the way his curiosity drives him during the story. How he keeps asking questions to every character until they actually answer them. Because apparently some adults don't want to be very honest or about what they mean. And of course, like I said, my other favorite characters are the Rose and the Fox. The Rose represents love, and the Fox represents friendship. So it's very also really like seeing the way they show this type of relationships. How with the Rose especially, how it is difficult to maintain that type of relationship. How they can both hurt each other. And with the Fox about the connections he makes with people, like what he will say about taming someone, because basically when you make a connection with someone, you've tamed them and they become important to you. That's why those three are my most favorite. Okay. Oh, what scene or quote resonated the most with you? Is there a scene that you like the most? For me personally, well, since I already talked about my favorite card, it's definitely related to them. But my most favorite scene is the one with the fox, especially in the movie as well. I think it's such a pretty scene. And I really like seeing the conversation between them and how he helps the prince realize that his connection with the rose is special, and that's why she's special, and not like any other rose. Y'all had any scene that you liked? Also, because I'm thinking a little bit about my little collection of stuff of the little prince that I'm gonna show at the end of the end of the slides. But I don't have it here right now though. Because when I was thinking about my favorite characters, I'm like, wait, I do have like stuff of every single one. Oh, also, what do you think is the main message or theme of The Little Prince? I personally think the main message is about the loss of childhood. How when we become adults, we tend to forget a lot about all the wonder and imagination we used to have. How basically becoming an adult makes us very, how do I say it, cynical. Just like the pilot was a little bit at the beginning. The little talk about stars was nice, right? I also really like that part. How he says that it's like a really nice way to make the pilot remember him. It is to value innocence. Yeah. When I was researching more stuff, I really like this article that said, I think it was I think it was someone who was explaining, it's about the innocence of childhood, but not like being naive, because children can be very intelligent, just like the Little Prince, like the way he thought a lot of adults were silly about the made-up rules that we have to abide by. So it's not like it's being naive, it's just the innocence of how that makes you have different perspectives. I'm thinking that No More Heroes stream may have inspirations from The Little Prince too. I've not played No More Heroes though. Oh, I never heard of that one. Okay, let me check it out. No More Heroes? No More Heroes stream. Ooh. It's kind of like an anime type of game. It's kind of niche action game. Oh, what do you think it might have inspirations? I'm curious. Let's see. Google, can you tell me something? The main villain is an alien prince. Oh. Well, Google doesn't tell me anything. And the setup to the story is that he lands on Earth. Huh. It could be. Unfortunately, Google is not being very helpful though. And some schmuck helps him off before the government captures him. Ah. And then he comes back, but he's like a convict. Okay, that sounds interesting. I want to check out this game too, even though I'm very bad at action games. But yeah, now I wanna look up more about what other media has been inspired by The Little Prince. It's very interesting. I feel like when it comes to classical stories, The Little Prince is not really as much mentioned as others, but it's still such a amazing book. Okay. What else I was gonna say? Oh yeah. Oh, that was definitely the main message of The Little Prince. But I also think another important message is about obviously the connection we make with people, and how that that connection we make with others, and how that helps us. Just so many amazing things you can about this book. And then the smoke is some copper was down with capitalism. Okay. Next one. Book adaptations. Wait, why did I put book? Oh yeah. Well yeah, adaptations of the book. I think that's what I meant. Of course, it's not a slide by Cassiel if there's not like a little mistake in the way. Okay, so these are 4 adaptations that I wanted to talk about. I haven't watched all of them, but I am planning to at some point. There's an anime based on The Little Prince that came out back in 1978. It's called The Adventures of the Little Prince. It's as you can see, it has a very like old anime style. I've heard it's good. You can find it on Crunchyroll if you're interested. It doesn't seem to be like a full adaptation. Has more of a adventure kind of feel. Like instead of the Little Prince just doing what happens in the book, he like travels to different asteroids and then goes back to his home. So I guess it's more like he has different adventures and then comes back. But it seems really interesting. I really want to watch it. Oh, I guess the little one in the background must be his Rose. I kind of want to know how the fox looks like. But yeah, that seems to be one of the earliest adaptations. This second one is live action adaptation. It's a musical movie that came out in 1974, so 4 years before the anime. It's also not as well known, which is interesting because it does have a lot of really important people involved, especially when it comes to like musicals. Wait, let me actually, there was something that I had on my notes. Let me look for it though. I completely forgot to open my notes before starting this, of course. Yeah, this one also, I haven't watched it yet, but I did want it to. Supposedly, I think it was on Netflix a few years back. I'm not sure if it still is, but I found an article about it back in 2016. But, you know, with the way Netflix always gets rid of stuff, who knows, it's still there. But definitely want to watch it at some point. But something that I found interesting is that... no, what did it do? Oh. Okay. So like I said, it has a lot of like really important people when it comes from Broadway that were part of this movie. And apparently someone, an English composer of the movie, who was part of the team, her name Angela Morley. She was the first openly transgender person to be nominated for an Oscar when she received an Academy Award for her work in this movie, which I thought was really cool, especially because of the time period. So in this movie, from what I researched at least, the characters, there's no how do I say this? The characters that are not human in the book are basically played by human actors. Like I know one will expect to there be like I don't know, stop motion or something, and just be voiced, but no. Apparently, every single the fox, the rose, the snake, I guess also they're just human actors, kind of playing the part, which makes me wonder how that's gonna work. I did watch the little scene of the fox and the little prince. So it feels a bit weird just seeing like a grown man be like the fox while the little prince is talking to him. But still, I still wanna check it out though. I think that the person who plays the fox is the same actor who plays Willy Wonka in the old movie. So that's another reason why I wanna watch it, because I really like that version of Willy Wonka. Okay, that third adaptation is animated series, French animated series that came out in 2010. I remember some years ago I tried to watch it. Back then it was a little bit harder to come by for some reason. But then they brought it to Netflix for a while, and I did watch a few episodes. I really liked it, but the animation is really nice, but it's definitely very different also from the book. It's kind of like a similar premise as the anime version, which is like he goes to different planets and has different adventures. Some of them a bit related to what happens in the book, but obviously very kind of different. I think they have the snake as a big villain. Also, there was this guy character that for some kind of reminded me of Zuko from Avatar. No, I was honestly kind of shipping them. I need to go back to actually watch the whole thing. It's available on YouTube from what I could find. I think you can watch the episodes on YouTube. I did find the first season. I don't know if they have all the seasons, but I think might be the official Little Prince YouTube channel, so you can watch it there for free. And of course, the movie that I kept mentioning earlier, The Little Prince, is the animated movie that came out in 2015. I think it's like the latest adaptation there's been. This version, I think, might be still available on Netflix. That's where I originally watched it when it came out. Not sure it's still there, but it's definitely my favorite, or at least the one I actually did watch in like complete instead of a series. It is, like I said, not a complete like adaptation of the book, because the premise of the movie is that the aviator, the one who narrates the book, he's basically that old man in the poster, and there's this little girl. They kind of make it like a story within a story. So they make this the main story is about this little girl who she's following her mom in trying to get into like the vet school and have this whole plan for her life, for becoming a good adult with a good job and stuff. And so she's basically not enjoying the childhood that she should, because she's already thinking like an adult, trying to get everything planned for that. And she ends up becoming neighbors with the pilot, the aviator, and he's the one who slowly starts like showing her the little pages that he wrote about his memories with the little prince. And that's how, while reading that, she starts trying to get back to being like an actual kid and enjoy life more like as a kid. which I thought was a really nice way to show the story. Every time she reads the parts of the book. You get like a different stop motion type of story animation for those parts of the story with the aviator and the little prince. It looks really gorgeous, honestly. I have the art book for this book. It's amazing, the art. And even though this other story is added to it, I feel like it really I how to explain this. I feel like it really fits the overall theme of the original book. And you also get some extra stuff that obviously has nothing to do with, not really on the book, but a bit more of seeing some of the characters on the book like on a different setting, or how it would be if the little prince had grown up and kind of forgotten who he used to be. Kind of makes me think a little bit of the, I guess, Peter Pan in that sense. But yeah, and the music on this movie is also really great. So very, very recommend this one if you'll ever are inclined to look up more adaptations. And okay, related books. So while I was doing some research, well, I guess this one doesn't count. I actually own this book, which is how I found out about it. But this book is it's a historical fiction about the life of the author of The Little Prince. It's called The Prince of the Skies. Because he was a pilot. Like I said, he was a pilot, which is kind of, and he wrote the story during World War II, and I think pretty much that's kind of what inspired his own book. So this book is about his life and his friends aviators who changed the history of civil aviation. It has very good reviews, so I'm really interested in looking into it, especially because apparently the author himself, he's been missing for many years. We don't know exactly what happened to him. I think he was flying over somewhere and he just disappeared. So that's really sad. I kind of wonder if that's gonna be added up. That's gonna be something talked about in the story. But yeah, this book is written by a Spanish author who also wrote a book about World War II. But yeah, very, very interesting. And I love the cover. That's why I was so surprised when I found this book at a bookstore that I was at last year, because I had no idea they made books that they'd existed before then. So I'm really looking forward to read this and learn more about him, which I feel like it can help learn more about the story itself. Because I know death of an author is a thing, but it's interesting to see like what influences an author to write what they write, right? Ooh. Yes. And another book that I actually found today, I had no idea that it existed before today, is The Tale of the Rose. From what I learned, apparently the rose in the story was had been inspired by the author's relationship with his wife. So this book is an autobiography of the wife, autobiographical book about Consuelo Sunchin Sandoval de Gomez, Antoine's wife, and the relationship which might have inspired the rose. But I'm guessing from the title, it seems like it might have, it's like most. I saw some people saying that it's a theory, but it kind of feels like more leans to some credence into that. They seem to have had like a little bit of a tumultuous relationship. So I also really want to read this one to learn more about the relationship that how that inspired him. So yeah, The Tale of the Rose. So I from her name, I think. Well, I from what I read in the premise, I think she might be from Argentina. Well, it says they met in Argentina, so I'm guessing she might be from there, based on her name. So yeah, it makes me happy to find more stuff in relation to the book that I love so much. Okay, next one. My collection. Of course, I couldn't go out without showing how much I love this book. Yeah. Oh, okay. Well, some probably have seen it already because I posted this on Twitter last year. So yeah, this is my little collection that I have. I like collecting a lot of editions of the book. Every time I come across a new one that is really pretty, I try to get it. I have the book in Spanish, in English, and French. My holy grail is trying to get the first ever translated in the first ever edition published, which is kind of hard to come by and it's also very expensive. Hopefully one day. Hello everyone. Oh, hi, please welcome. OMG cute. So yeah, I have all the books. I have the art book, like I mentioned, is the one in the one that looks like gold. I have this little little lamp of the rose, like a really tiny lamp. I think I got it from a museum that I went to. I got this plushie of the Little Prince that I also found, and this plushie of the fox. It's not related to it's not related to the Little Prince, but it's I used to have a little one like this when I was a kid. It was one of my most favorite plushies. So I got lost. So I wanted to get it again, and I thought it reminded me a lot of the fox from the story. So that's why I have it in there in my little collection, my little collection corner. It's so pretty. I try not to keep it light up a lot because it's already running out of batteries. I feel so sad. But yeah, this is my collection. I'm trying to get more. Actually, there's. Oh, I do want to make a video eventually to post it on TikTok of to show off every single one of my collection. I have another new one that I haven't put in my little corner still. My favorite booktuber, actually, she also collects them. I wanna be like her. Oh, and there was, oh my god, and also last year when I went on my trip, there was another edition that I liked. It looks so pretty that I want, but it was too expensive. I was like, okay, I'll get it another time. Oh, but this one especially, usually every single book of The Little Prince comes with the original illustrations. But this version, the one that's in Spanish, it says El Principito. I really like that version because it comes with different illustrations. It's really pretty. I usually prefer the originals, but I really like this version as well. So yeah, that's my little collection. And that's it. That's all. That's my whole presentation. Hopefully I didn't miss anything that I was planning to talk about. But yeah, The Little Prince is a very, very special book for me. There's a lot of things that I love about it, and I feel like every time I've read it, I come away with something new, and it's very special. And I'm really glad I was able to show you all this book, and I hope you also liked it. Thank you, thank you. Okay, let's go back to the chat and scream, cause since we finished this. Oh, I'm actually really liking this scene. Wait, what car? No, not that one. New. Oh. Trying to. Oh, this one. There. It looks great! Yay, thank you! I've honestly been wanting to use this background since forever. But I never really got the chance to, so I thought, okay, I think this one will be perfect for whenever we have read-along streams. And now, this was... I feel very immersed, yay! Good, good. Okay, trying to think. I wanna do more reading streams. Like I said, it's gonna be our little book club now, having little read-along streams. But I do need to start looking for more books. Because honestly, for some reason, I was under the impression that it wasn't gonna take me just one stream to finish The Little Prince. I forgot how short it actually was. So I'm gonna see what other books we can continue on. Real. If you all have any books in mind, please recommend. I mainly wanna go for short books that are also... Oh my god, wait, what happened? Time glitch, what did you say? No. Wait, that's weird. Dream messages were deleted? What? Well, my moderator, my bot moderator is ruthless, I think. I didn't even get to see what you said. I feel like automaton is getting you, yeah. I was reading the literary classic about the whale. Oh, wait. Oh my god. I guess the bot doesn't know that can also be like a name and not a reference to a human part. Oh, that's one book we couldn't do. Ishmael. Apparently. To be honest, I would like to read the that book. No, Moby Richard History. Yeah, that's what we're gonna call it now, Moby Richard. Also, Metal Gear Solid 5 inspired by. Oh, really? Wow, I didn't know that. I mean, I never played any of the Metal Gear Solid games, but I do know about them. Or it has reference to it. Ah. I love when other media has reference to classical books. It's my favorite thing ever. Honestly, I do wanna read Bobby Richard. It's been one of those classics that I wanted to read for the longest time. I just wish it wasn't so long. I feel like that would take forever, like the whole year just to finish it. Prequel, Giant Whale, I have Ishmael. Oh, interesting. You must love Lies of P, Cass. Lies of P? Wait, what is that? It sounds familiar. Lies. Oh, it's a game. Okay, no, I never played this game actually. So it's like inspired by Pinocchio. Oh, it's a Souls-like game based on Pinocchio and has some literary reference. Oh my god! Okay, I need to add that. It's on Steam apparently. Oh my god, kind of expensive though. Someday I'll play it. Someday when I have money. I thought you said Life of Pi. I was thinking that. Honestly, that's why when I saw the P, I was like, wait, do you mean that? Because that's actually a book that I really like. A good book on insomnia. Yeah. Well, actually, I never finished that book. I have it. I had it for so many years. I need to go back to it and actually finish it because I really liked it. But I love the movie so much. I have a feeling you're gonna die a ton if you play Lies of P. Probably because I'm so bad at games. That's not a dig or anything. One of my friends took hours against the final boss. Honestly, yeah, I totally believe that. Oh wait, hold on. Let me turn on alerts because we can actually have alerts now. Wait, actually, oh yeah, that's true. You wanted to make me bald, right, Synth? Just for you. I'm turning out. I'm turning them back. Turning back. I don't even know if it's gonna actually show though. Now you can make me bald if you want. All I know about Life of Pi is that a guy's trapped in a like. Yes. Oh my god, my egghead is so shiny. I'm gonna make y'all bald. Bald. I'm gonna make y'all blind with the shiny of my head. So the egg return. The shine of the top of my head. Don't act all surprised, man. Yeah, I'm surprised because I was in the middle of reading something and then I just see my head going bald. Okay, okay, I should probably take away the pin. Pin. Okay. It blinded me. My pollito eyes, no! Look away! Cover your eyes! Blinded by the light, yes. This is the full extent of my angelic powers. The shiny bald head. Oh, thank you for the stretch, Monoji. Okay, hold on. Stretch. Ah. Oh, also the hydrate. Okay, let me. I still have a lot of water left. Yeah, the ball rhythm is still gone for me now. Maybe you need to refresh. Because it should be. Well, this definitely should be working now. The shiny ball head. Wait, I was gonna say something else. What was I gonna say? Is that? There it is. Here we go. There. Blinding you all again. Oh my god, I can barely like see my wings, my head wings. Look how shiny my head is. So many eyes, yes. It would be funny if you remove my hair and you see my third eye. Retina synced permanently with a single everlasting image. Be not afraid. Be not afraid, my pollitos. Flashback by your exit is crazy. Third eye reveal. You know, maybe I should do that with my next model. Because I am gonna have my third eye. So if maybe I should have like ball redeem where you get the little surprise when you see my third eye. I should ask my Rick Mama for that. A little treat every time y'all make me bald. You see my third eye staring at you. I was gonna say something but I forgot, as usual. What was it? Oh yeah! Ugh. Back to the grind tomorrow. I'm so not looking forward to it. Back to work. Back to being worked to the bone as a librarian. OMG, wait, yeah. It's the worst. Classes start for me tomorrow, no! We're both gonna be suffering. Boo, Arcane, boo! Boo, classes, yes! I don't wanna. Yes, boo, boo! No one wants that. Ugh. So sad. I really enjoyed my days of freedom. Oh, thank you for the hug, Manoji. I love seeing all the little hearts. We're gonna need all the luck for tomorrow. But yeah, that's what we must do, unfortunately. At least I'm looking forward to the streams for this week. I still need to do my schedule, but I might post it either Monday or Tuesday. So yeah. Oh, and like I said, I also need to keep looking for a book to read next time. I can spell. I feel that. I'm always misspelling stuff. Never mind. I get tripped up as well, don't worry. What was I gonna say? Oh yeah, well, I do have another book that I've been wanting to read. It's one of the books that I want to read this year, but I don't know if that book is allowed. Because it came out in the 50s. But I'll see. It has... I started reading it some years ago. I never finished it. Because as usual, I have a problem with finishing some books sometimes. But it gave me a lot of like Little Prince vibes when I was reading it. Because it has similar themes about the difference between what it is to be an adult and what it is to be a child, and the like fantasy touches and stuff. I was really liking it. It's not short, so if I do end up, if that is a book I do pick up, I do pick for the next book club, it might take longer than just one stream, but I'll see. But oh wait, I think I only have it in Spanish though. Now that I think about it, I have to research better. But yeah, now let's see who we raid. It's already really getting late. I can't stream too late anymore because the grind. Thank you for this stream. You're welcome. Okay, let me see. Who can we raid? Ooh, okay, I see someone who's also well, they're also on, I think, on the writing on the same category as me. Although maybe editing everyone's category, volume 5. Huh. Well, I don't know, but they seem cool. Okay, I think I found. I always struggle to find someone to rate, but I think we can rate this person. Okay, night-night. Alright then, let me... Speaking of writing, I'm going back to it. Hey. Well, I hope you can tell us more about your writing next time then, Time Village. I love to read your writing. Okay, let me just put the right message. There. Okay. Alright. Okay, so make sure to grab your little rate message. We're gonna be rating double I can't read because I'm old. I think double blend? Because I think it's on the same category as me, so yes, we're gonna go rate them. And once again, thank you so much everybody for keeping me company today. I had a really good time. It made me really happy to be able to read my favorite book for you all, to be able to share it and talk about talk more about it. I hope y'all really enjoyed it, and I hope you have a really good night. And if you're gonna go to sleep, I hope you sleep well, and hope to see y'all next time when the library opens. Bye bye.